In this video, we will be identifying the different legal forms of property. To begin, let's discuss the differences and importance between real, personal, and intellectual property. Real property. Real property is defined as land and any property attached directly to it, including any subset of land that has been improved through legal human actions. In other words, real property is something that is fixated to a property and cannot simply be moved in a moving truck. An example of this could be a light fixture, a pool or pond, a tool shed or other attached building, and more. Personal property is a little different. Personal property is defined as movable property, belongings exclusive of land and buildings. It includes anything that can be easily packed into a moving truck to be removed from the property itself. Personal property means personal belongings that aren't included when a building is being sold. This may include a washer and dryer, tables and chairs, kitchen appliances, and anything else that belongs to the family rather than the house itself, such as bicycles and other machinery. Not all property is tangible, however. Some personal property also includes stocks and other investments, bank accounts, and patents, which leads us into the third type of property, intellectual property. Intellectual property, IP, is a category of property that includes intangible creations of the human intellect. There are many types of intellectual property, and some countries recognize more than others. The most well-known types are copyrights, patents, trademarks, and trade secrets. Intellectual property laws exist, so to not devalue the talent and labor that creates new ideas by having them be stolen, especially as the growing use of the internet makes content readily available for use. Historical changes in the legal definition of property. The revolution of the way we share information differs greatly from how it was 100 years ago, mainly being that intellectual property pervades our lives more and more. As a result of technology and the growing ability to share all kinds of information, the biggest difference between property law in history versus now is that slave ownership is no longer legal anywhere in the world. People being property is traced back to almost every ancient civilization in the world. It became most common within the British Isles during the Middle Ages, and slavery was legal in all of the 13 American colonies. Although slavery is technically no longer legal, human trafficking still exists in many places around the world, and there are still instances where illegal slavery occurs. In history, other humans could be considered one's property. A slave was defined as a person who is the property and wholly subject to another. Historical changes regarding who could own property. In American history, not everyone had the right to own property. In fact, women didn't have the right to manage themselves or have rights to their own children. Under the legal principle of coverture, husbands held authority over the property and choices of their wives. Owning property was a precondition for the right to vote. And since women didn't have the right to own property, they were not included in the political process whatsoever. Additionally, during the same time period, African American slaves did not have the right to own their own property, as they were seen as being legal property themselves. After slavery was abolished for the most part after the Civil War, though it was unlikely, some African American people had the ability to receive some portions of land. However, they still relied on jobs provided by white people to survive, meaning that they were not making enough money to be able to maintain ownership of that land. Property laws have changed drastically over time. Property law is crucial in protecting the rights individuals have over land, objects, and intellectual property. Without property rights and legal system, one has no ownership. The right of property gives people incentive to earn, invest, and accumulate wealth. It is in human nature to provide for ourselves and others, and the right to own property allows us to do legally and safely.